What's going on YouTube? Wild Lion Games here, and if you're looking for a new racing game, you're gonna have plenty of options to choose from this year, from Forza Motorsport 8, the Crew Motorfest, Test Drive Unlimited, Solar Crown, and a brand new announcement from New Star Games, New Star GP. All four of these racing games look very different from one another, offering different elements that you can't get from other games. So for all of you out there, this is what this video is for, to show you and explain to you what all these different games are offering, and you might find something in here that's for you, or maybe even multiple titles to add to your library. Let's jump into it. Test Drive Solar Crown, my most anticipated racing game of the year. Hands down, I was a huge fan of Test Drive Unlimited back in the Xbox 360 days, and matter of fact, I've still got it right here, man. I still pop it in every now and then. Such a great game, and ended up being one of my favorite racing games, as you know, I love the open world aspect, driving around Hawaii, over 1,000 miles of road to drive on. The fact that you could use your career winnings to purchase houses, purchase clothes, jewelry, accessorize yourself, all that stuff. But let's move on from Test Drive Unlimited 1 and look at this third installment, Test Drive Unlimited, or I think it's just Test Drive Solar Crown actually. So for the first time, Test Drive, they are leaving the Hawaiian Islands and they are heading over to Hong Kong Island, where they're recreating Hong Kong Island into a 1-to-1 ratio recreation. You can race through the narrow streets of Old Town, the wide roads of the highway, the off-beaten trails, off-roads in the mountains. The driving experience is said to be realistic and challenging. There's dynamic weather with thunderstorms, full day and night cycles. You'll be able to customize the performance of your vehicle. So, you know, hey, if the rainstorm comes and you want to swap out your tires, put some new tires on, change your gear ratios, you can go ahead and do that, or you can just keep the slicks on, drift around the city. There's going to be 370 miles of road exploration on Hong Kong Island for Test Drive Solar Crown. A note from the developer, and though he mentions that this is a 1-to-1 recreation, they did take some liberties to make the gameplay more fun and a smooth driving experience, right? So the very dense urban network of Hong Kong Island needed some small adjustments because there are like some streets that are just, too narrow. So they obviously widened those a little bit. And conversely, he said that, when you're going through the exploration aspects of like the mountains and like the different terrain, and that they took some of these hiking trails on Hong Kong Island and just widened them to make them, accessible for cars. So they took some liberties like that so that, you can explore the island and not be limited to its real world limitations where, you want to drive on this mountain, but it's just a hiking trail. Now in this game, that hiking trail has turned into like an off-road trail for you to explore on. And if you're unfamiliar with Test Drive Unlimited, how it has usually worked, it's really a car racing game for like car enthusiasts, car lovers that really want to explore like the luxurious side of owning a car, right? Test Drive, the dealership is back. You'll basically, when it's time to purchase a car, you go to a dealership based on like the different manufacturer that they offer. You can walk around freely in the showroom, inspect the car, pop the hood, check everything out, and you can even take the car for a test drive. One of the major changes I've noticed with Test Drive Solar Crown is no more of buying houses and apartments and garages like you did in the previous versions of the game, but instead you will be owning property at the Solar Hotel, which acts as like the game's central hub and lobby. You can gather there to meet players, see leaderboards, achievements of the day from other racers, and the more you earn from racing, the higher floor you can purchase a room on, working your way up to, like a swanky penthouse suite. The hotel is like kind of like that center location. It overlooks the city, giving players luxurious views. The Solar Hotel is also going to be offering, clothing stores, hair salons, surgeons, so you can customize your player, change their wardrobe, change their hairstyle, all that sort of stuff. And more details and rules on the headquarters of the Solar Hotel are going to come in a future newsletter from the developers. This is an interesting change because in most racing games, to purchase a car, you can purchase as many vehicles as you want as long as you can afford it. But in Test Drive Unlimited, you had to have the garage space to store that vehicle. So it made real estate shopping all the more important. You didn't want to just go and buy the dopest house with the most square footage in the coolest location if it only had like a 2-car garage, unless you wanted to buy garage space at a property nearby. So now in Solar Crown, we see they're going to this hotel aspect. Will be interesting, but they did say in the newsletter, there's this company in the game, this fake company in the world of Test Drive Solar Crown called Radiant. They're the ones who put together this giant like underground racing league. They're the ones that own the Solar Crown. hotel. And it mentions in this newsletter that they will be buying other real estate properties on the island as time goes on. So I can see what that being said in a fancy way from the developers is that there's future plans to add the ability to buy properties on the island somewhere. The first 2 installments of Test Drive Unlimited were a lot of fun. I enjoyed them very much, and it seems like the developers have put a lot of care and attention into this next installment, and I can't wait to see where this open world realistic gaming experience goes. And speaking of open world racing games coming in on their 3rd installment, how about the Crew Motorfest? The Crew is one of those games where the racing mechanics themselves are always a little subpar, I would say. But what really sold it was the exploration of the entire United States. I mean, that was like the big selling point of the Crew. You could explore and drive from New York to LA, Miami to Seattle, wherever, without any loading screens. And it's interesting to see Ubisoft is leaving the continental US and heading to Hawaii, where you are going to be racing on Oahu. So you're also, much like Test Drive Solar Crown, you're going to be on an island. You have the major city, Honolulu, where you can drive through the narrow streets. You're going to have the highways on the outside. You're going to have the volcano and mountain regions. So I see a lot of similarities with the open world landscape that both of these games are going to be offering. Gameplay wise, the Crew, I expect them to still stick with that very arcadey, almost, I don't know, it feels blocky in a way is how I've always felt racing in the Crew. I've always enjoyed, the exploration aspect of it, but the driving always left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. I don't expect them to change that either for the Crew Motorfest. Now, watching some gameplay videos, it's honestly reminding me a lot more of some older Need for Speed games. And I mean that in a good way too. So I think the game looks good. There's going to be over 600 vehicles available, including the new Lamborghini Revuelto, a couple editions of the Toyota Supra, some electric cars are going to be making an appearance as well. The neon saturated streets of Honolulu and like the lit up caves, they worry me a little bit. The Crew has never been truly based in realism, as with like a lot of Ubisoft games. When you think about it, they're very into like that neon neo-punk type of design when it comes to some of their more modern games. When you look at the new Saints Row game they put out, you look at Watch Dogs 2 and 3, 3 being Watch Dogs Legion, you can see that style bleeding through in the Crew. But again, it's the exploration factor with the Crew. You could fly planes, drive boats, ATVs, buggies. I think the wide array of vehicles that are available for you to drive, and their already proven track record of a fun exploration game with like an online hub that's always active, should make the Crew Motorfest another good option. I am curious how it's going to be drifting away from the continental US and into Hawaii though. New Star GP, oh boy, man, this just dropped. I was at work on Thursday. I see this tweet come out from New Star. They got some news coming out. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this company's been so quiet. They're releasing a racing game. If you're unfamiliar with New Star, they're the ones behind Retro Bowl and Retro Gold, both incredible games. I've played so much Retro Bowl, it's embarrassing. I think I'm on like my 30th season. It's such a fun game. You can check out my reviews on that. But unlike Retro Bowl and Retro Gold, this isn't coming to mobile. This is going straight to PC, at least at first when it launches. This 3D arcade racing game is sticking with their classic old school retro graphic style, but the attention to detail is still there, and the game looks awesome. It reminds me a little bit of this old arcade game I used to play called Pole Position. Obviously more polished up and with better details, but I just can't help but see that game whenever I see this New Star GP. I see Pole Position. I'm excited to check it out. There's not a whole lot of information out yet. There's a little bit on Steam, and you can see some stuff in the in-game trailer, but it looks smooth, it looks exciting. There's character customization, there's in-race strategy based on real-world F1 racing, like what kind of tires you'll be racing on, planning out your pit stops before the race starts, what's your fuel load gonna be, slipstreams, and more. The various camera angles look to be providing exciting moments. The weather effects are a nice surprise too. And while it has that arcade feel, I can tell you're going to get an in-depth game with some strategy behind how you approach the races. Split screen multiplayer is available as well for up to 4 players, and good news for even closer friends as points carry over from event to event. So, you can do one race or you can kind of string together an entire season of races and race together against each other. You're going to have car customization from appearance to performance, and some other things I spotted in the trailer are potentially having driver relationships or like rivalries. You can see right here, this like smiley face pop up briefly over the driver in the green car. I'm not sure what it means. This is just speculation that I'm assuming like there's gonna be some moments in the race that like allow for other drivers' opinions to change on you, or like media opinions to change on you. And we all know that's like kind of a staple in these new star games. You had media and player and staff opinions of you in Retro Bowl and Retro Goal, and it played into a factor of like your team's chemistry and the fan happiness. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of aspect like that within New Star GP. Career mode will be expanded over months as the game moves from early access to a final release, and your boy is going to be picking this title up as soon as early access is available later this year. So if you're interested in this game and you want to check it out and keep it on your radar, make sure you follow me, because I'm going to be checking the game out and uploading some videos whenever it does come out for early access. I will be picking it up. And the last racing game you should be paying attention to this year is none other than Forza Motorsport 8. And wow, man, I can't believe we're on 8. I started playing this Forza Motorsport 3, I believe, was my first one. I think 4 is still, my favorite, but I just can't believe how far the game has come, since then. As always, Forza Motorsport is your go-to game on Xbox for the most realistic racing experience to date. From car visuals to the unique sounds of the engine, and to the unique performance and handling of each car and model being their own. If there's one thing we know about Forza, this will be the best looking racing game and the most realistic playing racing game that's going to be out there. That's a fact. The graphics will look beyond real. The driving is going to be tough, as you need to figure out how each car handles individually. The Builders Cup is Forza's career mode. Not so sure how I feel about it. You can find some information online. I do miss career mode from Forza 4, where you had a calendar and there was races and different sessions to join each week, and like if you chose to join one tour, those other tours would become unavailable because of like a time conflict. So I'm not sure how I feel about every single tour always being available to you, because it makes career mode feel more of just like checking off on a checklist instead of actually, participating in a career that's spanning over time. Forza 8, we'll see what they do. I feel like a game that has perfected the gameplay aspect like they have over the years has been lacking innovation when it comes to like the game modes. I would expect at this point that we would be seeing some new stuff with career mode, or just new modes in general. Now, I know we've had the introduction of drivatars, and like the improvement of AI racing has been incredible. The advancements of physics and the simulation is incredible as ever. It improves every time. But for someone who I guess leans more on the casual side of car enthusiasts, to me, I'm looking for a little bit more than just improved AI and improved physics and better graphics for each iteration. I know those are great things, but I guess I would expect that there would be a little bit more than what they've had in these last few editions of the game. The name of the game for Forza 8 is just Level Build Race, right? They want you to fall in love with your favorite car, race with it, which earns you XP, which allows you to spend money to level that car up, and then go back out there and race with it again, and build the car to your liking, because you can use the credits that you earn for your car and buy parts and upgrade it and install parts. And what's nice too is you're actually not locked into your upgrades either. You can always uninstall parts, get those credits back, and then use those same credits to install other parts, which is great for customizing your favorite car. That way you can still race it based on the scenario, based on the track. So Forza really wants you to kind of like marry your car, build it to your liking, break it down, rebuild it to your liking for another race, and then continue to race with it. So I hope career mode is engaging, but I'm probably going to be checking this out either way, because I'm a big fan of Forza Motorsport. So there you have it. Racing gaming fans, you've got a ton of options to choose from. If you're looking for that open world racing experience, the Crew Motorfest and Test Drive Solar Crown might be what you're looking for. And maybe it's one or the other. Maybe that luxurious racing lifestyle that Solar Crown is offering, where you can purchase property and upgrade your character, is more for you. Or maybe you just care about the different types of vehicles you can drive, from boats to planes to cars, and the gameplay isn't as important to you. The extra fluff around earning money doesn't mean anything to you. So maybe the Crew Motorfest is what you want. And as we all know, if you're an IndyCar fan or an F1 fan, we need an F1 game. We don't have a good one. EA doesn't make a good F1 game. So maybe New Star GP could be what you're looking for if you're like an IndyCar racing fan. I'll be playing that. And then, if you're just a car enthusiast who wants realism over everything else, obviously Forza Motorsport 8 should be what you're looking for. So like I said, plenty of options to choose from, and maybe there's a couple titles that you throw into your library based on what you're looking for. But that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found it helpful, make sure you hit that like button, and stay tuned for more content. Until next time, peace.